Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because we are going to tackle something that causes, honestly, a massive amount of unnecessary stress: exam logistics. Today, we're focusing on exactly how to navigate the very strict e-sheet rules used by educational boards in Pakistan, like the FBISE. We're going to take you from a state of pre-exam panic right to a place of total power and confidence. Because think about it. You put hours, days, months into studying the material, and the literal last thing we want is for some technicality on the paper itself to hold you back. So, get comfortable because we're going to break down exactly what you need to do to completely master your e-sheet. So, could a stray mark actually cost you marks? It's kind of the ultimate student fear, isn't it? Well, the short answer is yes, it absolutely could. See, we're no longer dealing with a sympathetic human being who can just squint at your paper and guess what you meant. We're dealing with computers. These machines scan and grade your sheets, and they are completely unforgiving when it comes to formatting mistakes. A tiny error, just a slip of the pen in the wrong box, could genuinely impact those hard-earned grades. But don't worry, because by the end of this explainer, you'll know exactly how to avoid every single one of those pitfalls.
Here is our survival syllabus for today. 1. Cracking the e-sheet code. 2. Pens, ink, and erasers. 3. Headers, bubbles, and signatures. 4. Conquering the subjective section. And 5. Protecting your answer sheet.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, cracking the e-sheet code and why strict adherence is essential.
So what exactly is an e-sheet? Well, they're the electronic, computerized answer sheets used by educational boards in Pakistan, like the FBISE, and they require incredibly strict adherence to specific rules for valid scanning. Because a machine scans these to grade them, playing by its rules is literally the only way to prevent lost marks. The computer is programmed to look for very specific marks in very specific areas. If you don't play by the computer's rules, your brilliant, well-thought-out answers might not even register.
Moving right along to Section 2, pens, ink, and erasers, your approved exam arsenal. Okay, so your approved tools are actually super strict here. You must use only a black or blue ballpoint pen. That's it. You really need to avoid gel pens, sign pens, fountain pens, or markers. Just leave them all at home. The only tiny exception for markers is if you're making simple, non-stylish headings. But for all your actual bubble filling and answer writing, it is blue or black ballpoint all the way. The ink from other pens can easily smudge or bleed right through the paper, which completely disrupts that electronic scanning process we just talked about. Now, please commit this absolute non-negotiable rule to memory. Never, and I mean never, use correction fluid like Tipp-Ax, correction tape, or erasers on your sheet. Don't bring them, don't use them. Correction fluids and tapes can physically jam the high-speed scanners they use, or they can flake off and actually cover up other important data on the page. Just knowing this one rule puts you way ahead of the game and keeps your paper safe from being entirely rejected by the machine.
Which brings us to Section 3. Headers, bubbles, and signatures. The critical first 5 minutes.
I know this cover page setup can look really intimidating and cluttered when you first sit down, but we can turn it into an easy, stress-free 4-step checklist. Step 1, carefully write your roll number in the given boxes. Step 2, shade the corresponding bubbles completely. Don't just put a little dot in there, fill the whole bubble in. Step 3, if your paper has a question paper version, which is really common for the MCQ or bubble sections, make absolutely sure you fill out that specific version bubble. If you miss this, the computer is going to grade your test using the wrong answer key, which is a nightmare. And finally, step 4, provide both your English and your Urdu signatures in the designated boxes on the cover pages. Take a deep breath, follow those 4 steps, and you've successfully introduced yourself to the grading computer. All right, Section 4, conquering the subjective section, navigating the grid with confidence. So the subjective section has very strict spatial constraints. Let's methodically break down these rules. First, every single question, part, and subpart has a specifically allocated space. You must write only in not prescribed area. Second, and this is major, do not write the answer to a question in a box meant for a totally different question. The computer will literally only look for question 2's answer in questions 2's box. Third, if you decide to skip a question, just leave those specific boxes entirely blank. Don't write NA, don't draw a line through it, just leave it completely empty. And finally, do not renumber the questions yourself. The numbering is fixed for the scanner, so leave it be. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking right now. What if I mess up? I can't use an eraser and I have this limited space. Well, listen to this. If you make a mistake, simply cross it out cleanly. Just draw a neat line right through it. The board has actually already anticipated this happening.
There is ample space allocated for rewriting our answers. So do not panic and don't fear a scarcity of room. The system is quite literally designed to give you enough space to recover from a mistake cleanly, without ever needing those banned correction fluids. And finally, Section 5, protecting your answer sheet, treating the paper like a fragile artifact.
General handling of the e-sheet is incredibly important. The edges of your paper are actually highly sensitive because that is often where the computer's scanning alignment tracks are printed. Therefore, do not write, doodle, or leave any stray marks anywhere on the edges of the sheet. It will interfere with the scanner for sure. Furthermore, do not fold, crumple, or twist the sheets. Keep them nice, flat, and pristine. And lastly, for the sake of anonymity and fair grading, do not write your name, your father's name, or any identifying marks anywhere except in those official designated sections we talked about earlier. Keep the paper clean, flat, and professional.
So, are you ready to conquer the e-sheet? You absolutely are. You know your arsenal is strictly a blue or black ballpoint, you know exactly how to command those critical first 5 minutes, and you know how to safely navigate the grids without making a single technical error. But as we hand over our hard work to these high-speed scanners, it leaves us with a much bigger question to ponder. As exams become more and more automated, are we simply adapting to the technology, or is the technology actually changing the very nature of how we're allowed to think and test? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer, and go ace that exam.